Hi there, Bill Hitchcock. Got a fantastic program for you. It is a power pack program for you. We are doing this on Wednesday, June 18th. Yesterday and today has been some massive stuff going on in the Senate in regards to HB442. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about fish heads and pop-up storms up and down the coast of North. Fish heads, remember that, up and down the coast of North Carolina. And what on earth is going on in the Outer Banks? The fishing report is just, I haven't seen it like this all year round. So we'll get into that. But first, I want to get into the very important stuff. Yesterday, Tuesday, June 17th, the Senate Agriculture, Energy and Environment and Senate Rules and Operations Committee approved Amendment House Bill 442, which now heads to the full Senate for a vote. That's today, Wednesday, June 18th. While I'm doing this, they're having this full vote on it. The amendment, by the way, is to 442 is a ban on inshore shrimp trawling. It would move trawlers out to a minimum of a half a mile off the beach. So no more shrimp trawling in the Pamlico Sound, Albemarle Sound, Bogue Sound, Sound on the inside. It's going to have to be, if it goes through, at least a half mile off the beach. If the here's the pay attention to this. Today, Wednesday, the June 18th, if the full Senate gives its approval today, excuse me, the bill will be sent back to the House for another vote, since it differs from the original version passed by the lower chamber. So while we're all getting excited, or a lot of folks, well, everybody's getting excited, whether it's a positive excitement or a negative excitement, the Senate passes it today, the full House passes it today. It's not a done deal. It's not going to the governor. It's got to go back to the House because it's been modified. All right, so we will keep you in tune with that. By the way, if you didn't see it, yesterday I recorded the chamber meeting in the Senate, and I posted it. I'll put the link back down in the whatever section they call it here at YouTube, so you can see that. And I do, as a friendly reminder, this is either the third or fourth program we've dedicated just to HB442. So we've been trying to stay on top of this, but today's meetings and hearings and votes and whatnot are going to be going on all day long. And as soon as we find something out, we'll let you know. By the way, as a reminder, I want to make sure everybody remembers, and I'm sure you haven't forgotten, that North Carolina spotted sea trout fishery will reopen when, all together, boys and girls, July 1st. 3 fish, you can have one in between 14 and 20 inches. One of those 3 fish can be over 26 inches. So I'm just glad that that's about to happen. Now the fishing report, Nags Head Fishing Pier. It's just, 2 words, simply amazing. And I'm talking specifically about the Nags Head Fishing Pier. The bluefish blitz has been going on, large Spanish mackerel and king mackerel. Let's just take a look at this video.
Yes! Good job, dude.
Well, if that's not enough, how about that? Several cobia have been caught too there at the Nags Head Pier. Let's take a look at this video.
Like a little cobia. Like a Hampton special to me. Look at all these bluefish coming up in the mix. Yeah, been a great morning here on Nags Head Pier. Lots of Spanish mackerel, lots of bluefish, and hopefully a cobia. Come on. Point your rod tip straight down. There you go. Pretty work. Definitely a Hampton special. And that fish will be released.
Did you notice while they're catching that, bringing in that cobia, did you notice all of the bluefish that were around it that they were catching as well? In the also department, did you notice how the 2 different fish, the king and the cobia, were landed differently? The king was brought in with a grappling hook, 3 hooks. It's weighted a hoo-yah. They shish kebab that king mackerel and brought it to the deck. But with the cobia, they used a net. Why? They knew the cobia was too small. So they're not going to shish kebab something they know is too small, so they used a net to bring in that cobia. And I'd like to congratulate the folks at the Nags Head Pier for all the bluefish, all the Spanish mackerel, all of it. It's just been ballistic. So hopefully it will continue on with them. Now, one of the reasons why, going to jump the gun. We'll talk about sea surface temperatures because Pamlico Sound is 80, 82 degrees right now. But anyway, Jeanette's Pier up in Nags Head, not to be outdone. Jackson Burr out of Hanover, Virginia, landed a 40.5-pound king mackerel while pin rig fishing with a live bluefish. So that was just next door neighbor pier at the Jeanette's Pier, 40-pound plus king mackerel. That is citation size here in North Carolina. And if you don't know what a citation is, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's when the state of North Carolina recognizes the exceptionally large fish that you caught. Now, speechless sport fishing. This is where, again, at the very beginning, I talked about, well, it's fish heads and storms. That just seems to be the theme up and down the coast of North Carolina. Speechless Sport Fishing says, we tangle with gaffer dolphin, yellowfin tuna, and a sailfish. Then Mother Nature decided to join the party with her own little storm show. And yep, it's been for 2 weeks now. Time out. For the past couple of 3 shows, I've been forgetting to change. Wait a minute, let me see. Finally, I was holding this thing in my hand. Anyway, where am I? Rigged up charters, Nags Head. That's what I was talking about. The past couple of weeks, it's been, the weather report's been the same thing. 40, 50, 60% chance of rain all up and down the coast of North Carolina. It's hit and miss. You get rain for 15, 20 minutes, then nothing for an hour or two. Then you get rain for 15, 20 minutes, then nothing for an hour or two. And that's what it's been like weather-wise. So these guys have been fishing around the raindrops and doing very good. Rigged up charters out of Nags Head, tuna and wahoo. Now, speaking of fish heads, notice the tuna head on the deck. It's not the only time you're going to be seeing that today. Sneaky Pete Charters. Let's take a look at this video.
Crazy bluefish action. Absolutely crazy bluefish action. Here, hook another one so I can get it on video here.
I'm going under the boat. Woo!
Here they come. Oh, you got him.
Love what they said, crazy bluefish action. And it did look like, if you're noticing, it looked like a pod of bluefish was right there behind them that they were casting on. It was last week, I believe it was, the folks out of Hatteras and out of the northern Outer Banks area were talking about the bluefish action on topwater lures. And that is just going on. Now, doghouse sport fishing out of Wanchese, tuna. Notice the tuna head on the deck? But wait, there's more. Let's go on down to Hatteras Island, Frank and Franz. It's a croaker spot and scattered sea mullet and blues on the ocean side. Also blues in Corova today on our fresh mullet. Hatteras light tackle fishing out of Teach's Lair. They go by Spectacular. Say, the captain says, I just forgot the captain's name, but they said Rusty Langford along with Chris, Nick, kept our limit of puppy drum and released some. We also had a cobia that was a few inches too short to keep and some assortment of other stuff like sharks and blues and stingrays. And it just came to me, Captain Rick Scarborough. I assume he's a Kennekeeter. That's it's like being called Salter from Solar Path. Congratulations to those folks. You may recall over the past week or so, it's been pretty much the same report for those guys, limiting out on puppy drums, speckled trout back there, cobia are back there in the sound. So congratulations to those folks. Sea Dream Sport Fishing out of Hatteras Landing. Had to let some storms pass this morning, so we left about 7:45 in the morning, started out getting the blackfin tuna pretty steadily. Once they had all they wanted, we came inshore to look for something else. We caught 2 king mackerel, 2 gaffers, and a couple of barracuda as a result. Had a great flyby from a couple of Navy jets at the end of the day, and that's one of the wonderful things about the coast of North Carolina. Just about anywhere you is, you're close to a military installation and there might be somebody flying by or boating on by. Praise the Lord for those guys. Support the Marine Corps. Hatteras Harbor Marina says, It was a pretty wet and thunderous morning. He's starting to catch a theme here, folks. But the boats ventured out amid choppy seas. They had some dolphin, blackfin tuna, wahoo, yellowfin tuna, and a couple of king mackerel. Inshore boats had some red drum, bluefish, and speckled trout. Notice the tuna head on the deck. What's eating them big old things? Well, shark. I mean, for tuna, I mean, that's a pretty big bite there. Now, going on into the central area, chasing tails in Atlantic Beach, again, as you cross the high-rise bridge, the second business on the right. Lots of smiles and good times today. Some groups headed to the backwaters to catch red drum and speckled trout on live shrimp. Live shrimp. Remember the gentleman from Outer Banks was wanting to know where he can catch live shrimp out there in the Hatteras area, because evidently you can't get live shrimp at the bait and tackle shops up there. But Chasing Tails goes on to say that the others headed out to the ocean to catch bluefish in Spanish on casting jigs. Now, one of my favorite charters, Emerald Isle Charters, they say the stick jig and Clark spoons on light spinning reels made a fun morning of fishing in the wind. Now, here we've been talking about rain, and generally you got wind associated with rain. Bogue Inlet Pier, no fishing report, but they got a storm report. There's a picture of a cloud along the Bogue Banks and Emerald Isle, Bogue Inlet Pier, excuse me, or Bogue Banks. And that's pretty much what's been going on. Now, I wanted to get this out to you. There's a lot of folks like myself that like to go clamming, and there have been some new rules and regulations that have come into place when it came to clamming. So the Division of Marine Fisheries has this little video I want to play for you right now.
While mechanical clam harvest is phasing out, hand harvest of clams recreationally or commercially is not changing at all. So regulations will remain the same for recreational clam harvest as well as commercial clam harvest by hand using a rake like this, tongs, or any other non-mechanical means of harvesting clams.
As the division says, it's official. Amendment 3 to the Hard Clam Fishery Management Plan has been adopted. Hand harvest rakes and tongs. You okay? Sure, keep on clamming. Mechanical harvest will be phased out over 3 years. So if you like to go clamming, I tell you one of my most, I'll just relate a personal experience. Hopefully I haven't talked about this before. I used to have a house on the mouth of Gales Creek in Carteret County, and during the summertime I would go out just right in front of my house speckled trout fishing with live finger mullet, put them in rod holders, and then go clamming. And sure enough, there'd be at least one trout, oftentimes a flounder, as we went. And by the clams during the warmer months come closer to the surface. During the colder months, they dig on down. And one of the good ways to find a good area to clam is, number one, things like conchs and rays, eat them. So if you see beds, ray beds and conchs, that's probably a good place. Another great way to tell is seagulls love them too, and what they tend to do is find some hard surface to drop them on, because seagulls can't open a clam. So it used to be a long time ago, you get those little flat top homes, you know, little cinder block homes with a flat top. They'd drop them on that, or sometimes sidewalks, they'll drop them on that to break them open. So look for things like that. Now, viewer submission, I love this. Do you remember the little girl that caught, I think it was a croaker about a week or so ago, they sent it in? Well, Steve Velasco, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Steve, sent this in. I had asked for folks about crabbing. You know, send some crabbing pictures. I love to go crabbing too. Well, this is what Steve said and sent in. He says, Sunday fishing in topsail, along with a few blue crabs caught with a basic crab net. Pinfish and puffers were hungry. So I'm on the road, so I don't have them. I like using the exact same type of crab, their nets is what they are, that they showed there with that lovely young lady with the crab. It's 2 rings, and there's just nets. And you put your bait on the inside and just drop it down. Oftentimes, if it's in 2-3 feet of water, you can watch the action. And when you lift up, the bigger ring lifts up first, the smaller ring second, and your crab, we hope, is there. It's lots of fun. Those nets will last. I've had some nets for 4 or 5 years. They only cost like $10. So it's a lot of fun, particularly with kids, and a lot of fun if you just like to have crabs. All right, Fish Witch Charters. I think they're out of Sneed's Ferry. They said yesterday and today, the boats have been running half-day trips, catching Spanish, jacks and kings, barracuda, and did you, by the way, notice the chomped on king mackerel? everything. I'm slow trolling with a yellowfin tuna. You know, that's pretty much what's been going on up and down the coast of North Carolina. I do want to get sea surface temperatures out to you. We're going into the time of year where things are really going to start evening out. If you look in Pamlico Sound, you see how warm that is. I made mention at the top of the program, it's like 80, 82 degrees. Look out at the Gulf Stream, that's 80, 82, maybe even 84 degrees. So you can see a little bit of cooler water in Raleigh Bay. So it is that time of year where everything's heating up. As a heads up, as we move on into late July, particularly August into September, those water temperatures on Pamlico Sound and in those feeder creeks in rivers will shoot up into the 90s, close to 100 degrees. And what happens when that happens is the higher the temperature, the lower the dissolved oxygen. And there can be some areas where there is no oxygen, excuse me, and we'll have fish kills. You'll hear about menhaden because they're real fragile fish, or little bitty spots that would die. And also, as a heads up, you'll hear news reports of 10,000, 15,000 fish died. Well, I could put all of those fish on my tabletop here because they're juvenile, they're little bitty things. They're most prone and susceptible to disease and predation and things such as no oxygen. So just as a heads up. All right, that's all the time that I have. I do want to let you know that, again, that HB442 is in the full Senate is voting on it today on Wednesday, June 18th. As soon as we get a final tally, we'll let you know. But if they do approve it today, it will be sent back to the House because the bill has been modified with that inshore shrimp trawl ban. So the House will have to approve the modifications that they put into it. That's all the time I have for you today. I'm Bill Hitchcock. Oh, by the way, send me pictures, send me information, send me whatever you want to. BillHitchcock@mail.com, BillHitchcock@mail.com. Don't do it on Facebook. BillHitchcock@mail.com. If you send me a Facebook friend request, I might not accept it if I don't know who you are. We'll get into that later. Enough of me, all right? Until next time, we'll see you.